Good evening and welcome to Build Your Best Life with Coach Deborah D. Smith. I am excited as usual to have you here. Please begin to share so others can get on. And good evening to my special guest, Elder Joseph Levette. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. And yourself?
I'm doing great. Yes, loving it. Well, everyone, as you know, my theme for 2022 is this all about actions. That's because our words, our gestures, what we write, our voice tone, even the movement of our eyes is our actions and speaks volumes. So, whatever our actions say is crucial to others, is because that is the way that they interpret us by our actions. Now, my theme for March is family, friends, and foes. Family, friends, and foes. You know, we can't choose our family. We get friends, they're in our lives for a season, some of them, sometimes the in and out, and others for a lifetime. But relationships are very important. Well, tonight, Elder Levette and I are going to talk about unleaded or premium. Unleaded or premium. But we're going to start out with Elder Levette. If you could tell us something about yourself.
Okay, well, starting off, my name is Joseph Levette, and as you can see on the screen, definitely, and I'm married to the lovely Tony Levette, my wife, and definitely life partner. And of course, we have three children: Cornell Senior, Alicia, Taisha, and Valencia. And then we have between us, we have nine children, so nine grandchildren. My God, nine grandchildren that we love dearly. And then let's see. So I'm a chaplain with Vitas Hospice. Um, I've been a chaplain there now, going on 2 years. Um, I'm currently a graduate of Liberty University with a Master's of Divinity with a concentration of chaplaincy. And I love people. You know, I love doing the work that I do, and that's probably, I guess, maybe about the most of everything that you need to know for now.
Well, thank you so much. Well, as I said, we're going to talk about unleaded or premium. You know, like little young guys, they love their whips. And so they want to go out and get their favorite model so they can show it off to other guys. They got to have all the features. And of course, they want the brand name cars, whether they can afford them or not. But you know, it takes more than just going to a dealership and saying, "Oh, you know that whip, that's the one right there. I want that one," and you get it, and you don't worry about anything else. You have to maintain it, and a lot of and not just our young people, but older as well. We go to the car lot and we pick out a car and we say, "That's the one we want," and we don't ask a lot of pertinent questions.
Right.
So we forget to ask, you know, how often we have to maintain the engine because it may be more than, I mean, less than 3,000 miles. You know, if it's a very expensive, intricate car, you may have to go more than that. And it's very important. And I think probably 98% of people don't ask this question: what type of fuel does it take?
Mhm.
And what can happen is, you may have, like you say, you got an old 70 Volkswagen Beetle, and you say, "Oh, but I got to keep this car. I want to maintain it. I want to have it for a while. So I'm going to put premium in here." That's not going to make that VW run any better. So you are just wasting money there. But on the other hand, if you take that Lamborghini or that BMW 750 and you put some unleaded in it, you're going to have some mechanical problems on your hand. It's going to cost you some money. And that's because you looked at the outside. You didn't worry so much about that interior. So that's where we're going with this unleaded or premium, because relationships can be the same way, toxic. All that is toxic behaviors. So now, Elder Levette, what type of car do you own? And what kind of fuel does the manufacturer suggest? And what type do you usually purchase?
Okay. So, of course, we have two Kia Sorento SUVs. Now, the manufacturer suggested, they suggested just regular unleaded. It suggested if you use regular unleaded and get your oil changed on a regular basis, your car will run fine and smooth. So basically, in those vehicles, I use regular unleaded gas. In both of those, I use regular unleaded. I have tampered a couple times with using premium gas, but a mechanic once told me one time, if you keep your car up and keep like you was talking earlier, if you keep your maintenance up, then the regular unleaded works. That's why the manufacturer suggested. It says if you keep the regular maintenance up on the vehicle. Now, a lot of people don't keep their maintenance up on point. I'm very meticulous in keeping up our vehicles, getting oil changes and things like that done to ensure the longevity of the car. But yes, I use regular unleaded in them, and so far they worked out good. I haven't had any problems, so I think there might be some truth to that. Whereas I have a brother. My brother, he don't use nothing but premium gas. In any vehicle he uses premium gas, and that works. Works for him. But he had a van one time that lasted 200 and some thousand miles because I guess maybe that premium unleaded made that difference. So
okay. Right. But when you use that regular unleaded, it didn't cause you any problems.
Not so far. I mean, we ain't had the cars, they're not real old. They only a couple years old. So I'm hoping that it'll hold out.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, my husband has a Ford F-150. It's 2015, and he, does the same thing, keep up the maintenance. And his poor truck, he drives that thing so much. But I know he has over 200,000 miles, but he keeps going well. So yeah. So I think that's pretty good. Well, and good evening, Deacon Holmes. I saw that you were on here earlier. Thank you so much for tuning in. Not sure if anyone else is joined. I didn't see anyone else. Yes, Dan's there. So thank you for tuning in. Well, all relationships require that we use the proper skills when dealing with others. What is your perspective on this? Because I think it's just as important as what type of gas that you put in something when you use the right skills in dealing with others.
Oh, absolutely. I think the skills that you have to bring into a proper relationship, the proper skills that you have to bring into a relationship. One of the first things most definitely is trust. You got to be able to trust people. That's a skill. I mean, it can be part of your character, but it's your skill. It's a skill too, because you got to be able to trust anybody that you're in a relationship with, because you're going to be trusting them with a lot of information about you that you don't even share with other people. So I think trust is one skill that you need. Another one is you got to be dependable. I got to be able to count on you. If we're going to have a proper, we're going to have a good relationship as a friend, I got to be able to depend on you when I need you. If I call you, I need you to be there for me as best as you can. I know you can't be there all the time, but most of the time you should be able to be there for me. I'll just be that listening ear or whatever I need at that time. And then, honesty. Honesty is something, we got to be honest with each other. If I'm doing something that I shouldn't be doing, I need you to be honest with me. I don't need you to co-sign with me or let me do it. And, I want you to be an honest friend. That is a definite proper skill. Bringing in some good honesty. And then, of course, you have to have good character, because your character shapes who you are. We always heard that term, your character shapes who you are. So you have to have good character. I got to be able to know that you're going to be a good friend. And if you have good character, then that's going to let me know that you have the, you know, the proper skills. You know, and that's what I gotta have. And all of these things that I'm saying that I gotta have those things too. I gotta be trustworthy. I gotta be dependable. I gotta be honest. I gotta have that good character. And then certainly not least, you know, you gotta have a good personality. Sometimes people leave that out. You know, you gotta have sometimes even matching personalities. Because sometimes you need somebody who can almost think on the same level as you. You know, I like to have friends that it's like I'm a thinker. I'm always thinking about stuff, and I'm always throwing out ideas and things like that. You know, and that's the kind of friends I want. I want people who's got a good, their personality is that they think and they always trying to thrive to be better, because that's what my personality is about. I'm always trying to thrive to be better in every area of my life. So that's why personality is always important. So I would say those are some of the key proper skills I think that is needed whenever you're dealing with others as it relates to a relationship.
Okay, and if you just tuned in, now Elder Levette gave us those skills: trust people, be dependable, honest, have good character and good personality. But he also said those are good skills for people to have that you're dealing with, but you also need to have those as well. So that is a good point. And so those are some good traits. A good evening, Tony. I'm glad you could join today. And hello, Agnes. Thank you both for joining in. So now, for the length of time I've known you, I look at your character, your personality. You always seem to be an upright person, always keep your composure and everything. But can you think of a situation where you didn't handle a friendship in the proper way and the outcome associated with those actions? So
Well, I mean, I think I would have to go back probably to my Army days. I had a real good friend of mine. We met in basic training, and we went through basic training. Then we went to our advanced individual training. We both were medics. We then went to the same duty station. We ended up same duty station. We ended up roommates, and we was the best of friends. I mean, we hung out all the time together. You know, we went to the chow hall together to eat together. You know, we just, you know, as young guys coming in the Army, we hung out. When we would go out and go to clubs and all that back then, you know, we go and hang out together. But then one time, it was actually, what happened was, it was this girl that the girl liked me, but he liked the girl. I didn't necessarily like her, but he liked her. And so one time we was in the club, and he and she was like, you know, kind of hitting on me and things like that. And then at the end of the night, I started wondering why he was kind of standoffish and things like that. And he was like, why you was trying to take my girl? And I was like, I said, your girl? How was that your girl? I said, that's your girl? I said, he was like, well, you know, I liked her. I said, I don't like her. I don't like her or anything. And then, you know, and we kind of got a little, you know, of course, we were drinking, trying to experiment with drinking, being out of the home then. So we were both drinking, had been drinking, and had a little, you know, as they call it, that liquid courage. So we started saying stuff to each other. And, you know, and before we knew it, we got in a big argument. And of course, then it came out my mouth, you know, it just, you know, because I wasn't thinking at that time. I just was trying to get back at him because he was coming at me. So I said, well, anyway, she didn't want you. And since you said that, I'm going to have her anyway, you know. And so he got really mad at me. And I know I didn't handle that situation well. And then like maybe 3 days later, you know, we was in the same room and wasn't even speaking to each other. And then so finally, like 3 days later, we was in the dining facility, and one of our sergeants came over, and he was like, y'all two good friends, y'all get this together right now. Y'all sit here and talk to y'all, work it out. So we sat there and we talked about it. And I felt so bad that I had said that kind of stuff to him. I really never wanted her. She wasn't my type, but he liked her. But at the end of the day, neither one of us really had got her, so it didn't really matter. But I didn't think that I didn't handle that situation, and for a while, even though we talked it through, I felt like I kind of lost a really best friend. Like he was really like a best friend at that time. And I felt like I kind of we lost that. We stayed friends and we still would talk. And every now and then we might go out, but we never kind of got back on track to being the best of friends. So, and I thought and I believe that was because I didn't handle the situation well. One, because I couldn't handle the alcohol I had in me, and it made me run off at the mouth and say things to him. So that would be probably a good instance that I could look back on and say, it wasn't, I didn't handle it well.
All right. Well, that was a good example. But, then y'all getting back together and talking about it, that was, good as well. Yeah. And maybe the friendship didn't get back to 100, but, hopefully it got close to that. But, it's always good when you can, talk and come to a resolution, especially when y'all were rooming together.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Eventually he went to airborne school. So he went to airborne school. He came back and he actually moved out of the company and moved into another company. So that's how we started even really falling a little bit more apart. But I mean, like we still spoke and but we never got back. We didn't get you right. We got close, but we never could seem like we just could never get that 100 back.
Yeah. Very good. All right. Well, good evening to Belinda Turner and AJ Turner. So glad to see y'all on here today. Hope both of you are doing well. When was it? Last week or 2 weeks ago, I talked about the different types and levels of friendship and how, character, and you mentioned, about character and personality earlier, but about how character is a better method of knowing someone than personality, because personality is like that, like he probably didn't like the young lady either, but he was looking at the outside, but what was her character really like, So, so based on that, do you think as soon as you meet someone, whether they have good character traits, or do you believe it is wise to get to know someone first?
It's always better to get to know someone first. You can never determine a person's character when you first get to know them, because some people would put up a facade when you first get to know them. And that's only because they think that that's what they have to do to get a friend. So you definitely got to get to know a person. It takes. That's why. If you look at your thing, build your best life. You build a relationship. A relationship should be built and not put together. Whenever you just put the relationship together, then you're gonna just get what comes with it. But if you build it, you will know by the time it get to a point where it's starting to get serious, you will know whether that relationship is meant for you or not. And I'm not talking about a dating relationship. I'm talking about even just a friendship. Just a friend. You build that relationship with them. And once you get to that point, when you get to that point where you want to trust them with the innermost, darkest secrets of your life, then you got to be able to know that person is for you. Because if not, you'll get to know that person and you'll think you know them based off of what you saw at the beginning, and then they'll change and they'll show your true colors will come out. It'll come out if you just hang in there long enough. And it's that even translates to dating. Like I'll give you a perfect example. When I first met the love of my life, everybody know I call her my hottie. So when I first met Tony, I said, she's pretty. She looks nice. She got a nice body. She looked nice. She got all them outside traits. She looked nice. She's nice. And she was very nice person. and the nicest person I think I would ever want to meet. But I still wasn't gonna just say, okay, yep, that's the one. We had to build ourselves into a relationship to where I know I could trust her. And we built that. It wasn't something she didn't trust me with just a lot of things about her life until she got to really know me, that she could trust me. So yeah, I think you definitely got to get to know a person before you consider them, a good friend or best friend or a partner in life. If that's somebody you want as a boyfriend, a girlfriend, you got to get to know them. Otherwise, you're not gonna you taking a risk. I'll say it that way. You taking a hard risk.
Yes, you taking a risk, and and it's so key for our young people, our young men, especially, but for all our young people, they want to do everything now quick. Everything's quick, even down to the point where, I can just go on an app, pick someone, hey, that's the one. But you really, really, really have to do some work and get to know people. And, a lot of people say, well, when you go into the romantic, those type relationships, they say, oh, well, you get to know people, but we're going to move in together. Why y'all moving in together?
Right.
Know each other. Right. That's not how you get to know each other. Because it was so funny. It wasn't funny, but I look at divorce court, but they've changed that now to where even people that's just dating or engaged or whatever, they go to divorce court for whatever reason.
Yeah.
This young lady, she was having this horrible time with her fiance, and they're just trying to decide whether to stay together or not. And she's saying, well, and he's, I think, like a rapper. So he's out among people. Of course, he's going to attract young ladies or whatever, but she's just going to complain about this. And he was like, well, I've been trying to take it, but what really is getting to me, we've been together 5 years. Why is not finding out she got a husband?
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Like, what? So wait a minute, we need to back up. We need to focus on you. You didn't tell this man you were married?
Oh, wow.
So, that shacking up and stuff like that, I know y'all don't call it that anymore, but that's not going to help you to know anybody.
Yeah. And something to add to that, Coach Deborah, one of the things, too, that we do, that's one of the things we do even with our children, even though they're grown, we share our life with them and how we met and we went about in our relationship to come to where we are, because we want them to see the example. This is an example of the type of relationship. It ain't the one, I don't want you to have one like mine, but I want you to at least see the character traits that we developed in order to become who we are as a couple now. So that because one thing any of my girls know, they know when they get a man now, they know this is how you need to be treated, because they get to see firsthand how I treat their mother as the queen of all queens. They see that, and because they see that, they don't see somebody who's running the clubs and running around and hanging out and all of that. They see a man who come home, make sure he takes care of his family and looks out for his family. And that's what I want for them to have. So that's why it's even more so important, because we got to not only be good stewards of our relationships, we also got to be examples. So that's the most important thing to me, is to be an example to my kids, my grandkids, and so forth.
Right. And that is so essential for these millennials and Generation Y, because,
yes.
Back in the day, you could do anything you wanted to do. You'd be falling down drunk, but you tell your kids, now, you're not supposed to drink. You better not let me see you drinking. If I do, I'm going to beat your tail. I'm going to do this and this and this. And they might be scared enough to like, okay, yes, sir, no problem.
Yeah.
But today, but this generation, they don't care what you say.
No.
It's what they see.
That's it. You're
so
right.
Like you said, you have to be that example.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You got to do it.
Yeah, so all of you men out there who are, being examples and, showing people how they should date, how they should treat young ladies, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I know there, some of the guys tell me, well, excuse me, the young ladies, they don't want us to take them out to eat. They want to split the bill. They don't want us to open the door for them. They say they can open their own door. I don't care what they say.
Yes.
Use it at least. I mean, you're not going to get in an argument about it, but the right thing to do is to open their doors. If you invite them out to dinner, you should be paying for that meal. They shouldn't be paying for it, in my opinion.
That is so true.
But, we have to treat them like that. Chivalry is not dead. It's a right way to treat your queen, like your hottie. That's the way you're supposed to treat them.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Yes.
You said it.
And if you listening, agree or disagree, we look forward to hearing your comments, questions, or anything. So, okay, so if you want something to perform or turn out properly, you have to follow certain protocols. So that's like getting back to the fuel in your car. So if you want your high performance or high expensive engine to work properly, and it requires that premium fuel, that's what you have to put in there. Mm-hmm. If you have an object and it requires a certain type battery, that's what you have to put in there. They can't call for a AAA and you try to put a AA in there. That's
right.
Not work. Well, that's not gonna work. Yeah, and then the items that they call for in a recipe, you can't say, well, dog, I don't have any flour. Let me see. What if I put some meal in there? You can't do that.
Right. It ain't gonna taste the same.
No. So there are some things that you have to stick with. And I like to talk about, when I was in school, probably when you were in school, and then your parents, they probably taught you basic principles, life skills, follow your common sense, taught you about money or whatever. They don't teach that now, but, I did hear recently that they're going to start doing that, teaching our young people how to write checks and do accounting. So that is wonderful. It's long overdue, but they don't teach people those things anymore. But what are some things that you do to ensure that your friendship remains intact? What are some of those things, you're not swapping out and, I can lie to my friend and we're still going to be friends. So what are some of those things that you do to ensure that you're going to have good, solid relationships?
I think the first thing you got to do to ensure that you keep your friendship or relationship intact is you got to be committed to it. You got to have a sense of commitment. You got to really show them that you're committed in the relationship. No matter what relationship you in, if you're not committed in it, then it's going to show. It's going to show that you're not committed because you're not going to be there when they need you. They ain't going to be able to trust you. They can't really be honest with you because you're going to go tell other people. So I think the first thing to keep it intact, you got to be committed. You got to be committed so much to the point that no matter what they tell you, you can keep it in yourself and try to help them work through it. You don't have to go and tell the world, oh, he did this or she did that. That means that as a committed friend, that's when you come back and you are able to use those other traits, that honesty and that trust. That's when you will be able to say to them, hey, okay, we got to help you get out of this. We got to help you. We got to help you get out of this. And then the other thing I would say is being responsible. Be responsible for your part of the relationship. I try to be responsible for who I'm supposed to be to you and as a friend. If I'm your good best friend, I'm going to be a responsible best friend. When you need me, I'm going to be there. I'm a responsible husband. My wife, I got to make sure that her house is paid for. I got to make sure her car is paid for. I'm responsible. So it's the same thing in a relationship. You in a relationship, that person, you ought to be responsible for your part in that relationship. And if you're responsible and you're committed, then you're going to have a great relationship, because it whenever you when both of those two things match in a relationship, it's no, you, as the Bible says, you find a friend indeed.
Yes.
That is a friend indeed, a friend of friends. And so that's two of the most, I think, important things you need to know in order to keep your relationship intact. And then, of course, just that I go back to honesty again. Being able to be honest with each other. That is the way. That is the way. Because if you can't at all times be honest with somebody you in a committed relationship with, then eventually that's going to break down the relationship. It's going to end up being that broken link in that chain of friendship. So I would say those two things are probably the most important things that really come to mind. And as I was looking, I think that allows the relationship to continue to grow and be stronger.
Okay. And Tony, thank you for your comment. Be true to who you are. Don't let other people make you dumb it down or be someone else or fake. Be true to who you are.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's a definite too.
Yes.
Don't try to be something in the relationship you're not. Don't let them expect nothing out of you in the relationship that's not you. If it ain't you, then don't bring it to the relationship. Because if you bring it to the relationship by just for the means of getting a relationship, eventually that's gonna wear off. Because they're gonna be expecting you to stay at that same level. And if you ain't at that same level, that's going to be a letdown. That's going to be a disappointment. And that's going to be another crash burn in the relationship. So yeah, Tony, that's a good point also.
Yes. Cause a lot of problems.
Yes, Lord.
All right. This question is kind of like twofold, but first, what do you think may be going on? And what advice would you give to someone who has a best friend or close friend who begins to try to manipulate them or belittle them in front of other people?
Well, sometimes it depends on the situation, what's going on in hand. Like if I go back to my situation with my friend, part of that whole situation was alcohol was involved. And because we had that courage, that liquid courage to say what we wanted to say, it wasn't really who I was, but it still kind of damaged the relationship. I think whenever a person tried to manipulate you, and that was more like a belittling for me to him. I was kind of belittling him as far as his ability to get that girl. So, if you belittle someone or you trying to manipulate them in a relationship, that's a red flag right there. That's a red flag to the end of a relationship a lot of time, because nobody likes to be put on blast in front of, when everybody think that you're the best friend, everybody thinking that's my best friend, and then you do something to belittle them. You tell something they told you, like, maybe you had a drinking problem and nobody really know about it, and you go to church and you're a deacon or you're a minister, and you had a drinking problem and you told them, they'd be like, you out in the public and amongst other friends, or y'all have friends and people that know you, and you say something crazy like, yeah, he don't need to have no drink. He definitely don't need to have no drink, because if he gets some drink in him, it's gonna turn crazy. And see, then now you're belittling them in front of everybody, and now they feel like you telling their business. That's what it's gonna lead to. So I mean, I think that's a bad thing to do. And then manipulation, oh my God. Manipulation is a whole nother planet. When you ever feel like you manipulated by a friend or somebody close to you, you feel manipulated, that puts you on a quick offensive. And I didn't say defensive. It puts you on an offensive. Now you might get defensive when people belittle you, but when somebody manipulates you, if somebody manipulates you, then you that changes your whole perspective on that person and your friendship with them. In that one moment, they can change their whole perspective and outlook of who you are. They could have for years thought you was the best friend that they could ever have, and because you manipulated them into however you manipulated them, now it's put such a hard, it's put a hard ball in your court to play the game with. So the game of life and friendship. So that's probably kind of what I would say in those two things. Just them you belittle somebody and manipulate, you set yourself up for a real quick exit in a relationship most of the time.
All right.
And I would say, and the advice to that is, I think advice would be that at some point you got to still forgive them, even if they did you wrong and y'all relationship went left or went sour. You got to be able to forgive them, because until you forgive them, you cannot move on. And you can't just say you forgive them. You got to feel it in your heart that you forgave them. That's a hard pill to swallow, because if somebody really hurt you real bad by a process of manipulation or belittling, then that's a hard pill to swallow, to say, well, even though you did it to me, it hurt me. You let that person know it hurt you, but I'm gonna let you know truthfully and from the bottom of my heart, I forgive you. Because in order for me to move forward and be able to trust another friend or another relationship, I gotta be able to forgive you. Because if not, now I'm gonna put that guard up. So I ain't gonna really get in ain't nobody gonna get that close to me no more if I'm still in unforgiveness. I ain't forgave you for what you did. I'm gonna have that wall up, so I don't give myself no room to build another relationship. Because as soon as I do, in anything that look like what I just went through, if it just give me an inkling of what that looked like, if it looks like something manipulative, or it looks like something that was belittling, guess what? I'm killing that relationship right then. When in actuality, it might have not been. It might have just been a little mistake, or it might have been a misunderstanding. So I would say advice, the first thing is you got to forgive them. And then the second thing is you gotta forgive yourself. And when I say forgive yourself, you gotta forgive yourself to the point that when you forgive yourself for allowing that to happen, and you're able to forgive yourself and say, you know what, I know that happened to me. I know that happened, but I gotta be able to move on. So I gotta forgive myself. I gotta forgive myself how I responded, how I reacted, or whatever could have been the case. So now I also can move on. Because if you don't forgive yourself, then now it's gonna be about you. Even if you get in a good relationship, you ain't forgave yourself. So then that starts getting into your trust factors and all of those type things.
Yeah, that's good, because it impacts that relationship, but then it's going to impact, like you said, every other relationship, because it's just like, if that one person did it, then everybody's going to do it. So you're going to suffer throughout, just because of what that one person did to you. And when you don't address it, or say, you know what, they did that to me, it was wrong, I have to forgive them, then you are doing yourself a disservice, because it's just like a cancer eating you up on the inside. It's
Absolutely.
really, they're going on about their business.
Right. I ain't thinking about you. And you harboring all that in you.
In you, yes.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you see people, they act a certain way, and you're like, what in the world? I wouldn't expect them to act like that, but you never know that baggage, I call it, that they're carrying.
Yes. Yes. I mean, that's true. And I mean, and I think sometimes, and I can say this maybe a little to the point of advice, is sometimes, we may not know what they're going through. Now, sometimes I would say from an advice standpoint, if you really know that person, I mean, like you really, really know them, sometimes you may have to give them the benefit of the doubt that they just made a mistake or they had a bad moment. Like you said just now, Coach Deborah, they could have been going through something, and their reaction from going through that attacked you because you was the person in front of them while they was feeling what they was feeling. And so in that, and that's where I think we gotta have some discernment too, as well, to know our friends. We can have some discernment to know we know something that come really from their heart. So if it seemed like it was just something they spewed out their mouth without, and we know it didn't really, it was just off the top of their head or out of their mind or out of alcohol or whatever could have been the way it came out, then sometimes we got to know their heart. As the Bible say, people look at the outward, but God looks at the heart. So sometimes I think we got to model what God showed us in his word. And that's look at the heart, know their heart. Maybe when they come to ask you for forgiveness, if they come and ask you for forgiveness, then that's a sign that maybe they saw they wrong. That don't mean that the relationship got to be over. It just means you just hit a bad snag. And it's like just when you in a relationship, like in a marriage, you just gotta try to forgive and build and move on and build it back up. That's all it takes.
Right. And I know people probably tired of hearing this, but I have to bring it up because I think this is a good place for it. But just like this whole situation Sunday night with Will and Chris, now we have everybody speculating about what had happened. Because, at first Will sat there and he had a smile on his face. And then it's like, he thought about it, but you would think if he thought about it, then he would have just sat there. But after he thought about it, he got up there, went on stage and slapped this man. And I mean, it wasn't just a soft slap. You could hear it. And now people are saying, well, but we don't know what's going on with their relationship. And you saw the look on her face. And, well, if Chris had known that she had alopecia, maybe he wouldn't have said anything. But again, it goes to our actions. We don't never know what somebody else is going through. But, everybody said, well, that's not in Will's character. No one has ever seen him ever get in trouble for anything. Something else must be going on. Well, we don't know. Do you give him the benefit of the doubt? I don't know. But it seems like the Oscar committee, they're not going to give him the benefit of the doubt because they're talking about taking away his Oscar. But, things just happen. And, one of those situations.
And the sad thing about that is that Will, in a month from now, Will and Chris might be right back friends again and saw it for what it was, because I think it was I don't think that Chris, I kind of really think Chris didn't know that she had the alopecia. Then you got to look back. If you look back on follow Will and Jada, they've had some marital issues not too far back. There was this thing about her and the entanglement and all that happened during that time. And maybe they was building a relationship back up. And in a way, they got their closeness back together. And maybe Will felt like, hey, I got to go defend my wife's honor because that's where we at right now. Maybe that's why, maybe there was some things he didn't do before that he was saying, I'm going to do this time. And that caused that entanglement,
Right.
maybe it's some stuff he didn't do. Maybe he wasn't sometimes defending her, or and maybe he felt like that was the moment that he felt like he had to defend his wife. So he, for him, that was the action he chose to go with.
All right.
And now it can cost him a lot of things,
Yeah, because he could actually get sued. But
yeah,
because I mean, it's just like if I had been there and Chris made that joke, I would have laughed because I remember G.I. Jane, the movie. The movie was really, really good. And so you think about how she was the only female and they made her cut her hair. But had I known, if I was Chris, that she had alopecia, then of course, no, I wouldn't have did it. But like he said, he didn't know she had alopecia. Nobody knew until Monday, right? Nobody knew that. They thought she just cut her hair.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what comedians do. They find something.
Right. And they both comedians in a sense, even though Will is more of a television type comedian and a television show comedian or movie comedian. And Chris Rock, he's a stand-up comedian. I mean, that's his bread and butter. That's what he do. And he's always been known to attack people in the front row. That's just him. That's his character that's part of his character of being a comedian. He's going to do that. And he never had nobody attack him before. And, one thing I was looking at, it's interesting you said that, because one thing I did remember them saying was, well, will this open the door for people who get mad at something a comedian says, for them to go up and react the way Will did? Mm-hmm. If they get on somebody, especially if they got a little drink in them, are they going to have that boldness now to not see it as a joke, but see it as a personal attack the way Will did? Do that give them an arena to do that?
Right. I got the green light now, because somebody was mentioning it to me, and they said, now at your church, do you have armor bearers? And I was like, well, yes. They said, well, did you notice there was no one to keep him from going up there? Because see, like with Kanye, when they barred him from coming to the ceremony, because they had in their minds, now this one right here, he's liable to do something. So they just, uninvited him. But so why would you not, even in that circumstance, just because you never had anything before, the world is just changing, not had at least two people standing there, because nobody should have been able to get to Chris, first of all.
Yes.
So like you say, so now it's like, hey, well, I'm sitting in the front and somebody start talking about my wife, I'm not gonna tip out. I'm gonna get up there and slap him.
Right. And the security was back there in the back. But I mean, they didn't see. They thought he was maybe coming up there to shake his hand and hug him or something. That's what security basically is saying. Like, we didn't know he was coming up there to slap him. We thought he was coming up there to say something funny back to him, or whatever. Because that's normally what comedians will do to each other. It'll become a little face off. In which then they were saying that would have been good for the Oscars, because it'd have been like a little Chris Rock and Will Smith comedian war. We got a free comedian show out of it,
So even with the slap, because I thought that was part of the act. I thought that was right too. So no, and then said even the people in the audience, they didn't realize it wasn't a joke until he started using the F word.
Yes, when he dropped
that's when they're like, oh, wait a minute.
Oh yeah, when he dropped the F-bomb, I was like, oh, okay, he's serious now.
Yeah, so
wow.
Yeah. But we'll see in the coming months.
Yes. So,
remember, everybody, those actions.
We'll see if they're going to be still family, friends, or they're going to be foes.
Right. We're
going to find out. So your topic hit right on it.
Yes. All right. This has been a good conversation. And in closing, I know you have given us a lot of good tips, so you might have given them all out, but I hope not. So can you please give our viewers some skills that they may need to attract good friends, and also skills needed in maintaining those friendships? Because a friendship is just like a marriage. Just because you're married, that doesn't mean you can just let everything go. That's a work in progress. You got to work at it.
Yes. I mean, first, I think you gotta find yourself worthy in yourself to be a good friend. You got to find yourself worthy. If you don't see no worthiness in yourself that you can be a good friend, then I mean, that might be your first red flag is that, oh, do you feel worthy enough to be a friend to someone? I mean, that is probably one of the first skills I would say is being worthy, worthiness, being worthy. You know, then I would say the next thing you would have to do is do what the Word of God tells us. Show yourself friendly. Show yourself friendly. If you're going to attract friends, you got to show yourself friendly. You are not going to attract no friends walking around in a cussing tirade every day. You ain't going to attract no friends. You just going to get more foes. And I would say, I think I do have to go back to one of the ones something I used earlier, and that's being committed. You know, you gotta show that person that you're going to be committed to the relationship. You have to possess that skill to show commitment. And then I would say maintaining a relationship. I go to the sayings of some of the older saints and the older people used to tell us, whatever it takes to get them is what it takes to keep them.
Yes.
You know, so if you start out, one thing, I'll give you a good example. One of the things I started doing from the time I met Tony was I always open her door. Unless it's raining and she gonna run to the door run in the car real. We both run into the car real quick. But no, I always open her door. I started doing that when we were dating. And another thing is, you know, always say thank you to your friends when they do something for you, whoever it is. Say thank you. I mean, I can go back to my relationship again. One of the things I do every time my wife cooks, I tell her thank you. If she cook a good meal, I say thank you. If she do something for me, I say thank you. Because she don't necessarily have to. She's not my mama. She's my wife. But because she takes the pride in doing certain things for her husband and make sure he's squared away, then that's I say thank you. You know, so I think saying thank you goes a long way. Even in a friendship, if your friend gave you some good advice, say thank you. Don't just say, oh, okay, well, I'll talk to you later then. No, say thank you. Tell them thank you. If they buy you something nice, they went out of town and went out the country and bought you back a mug or whatever it is, a t-shirt or whatever, say thank you. Thank you goes a long way. That's how you maintain a relationship. Because anytime someone does something for you and you say thank you, when you're talking about maintaining, it's going to maintain the relationship because they're going to continue to do for you because you have, it's in you to say thank you. And they know without a shadow of a doubt, you're appreciative. This shows how much you're appreciative. It shows how much you care about what they did for you. And it just shows common love. And then I think what I would say, and then the last thing I'll say as far as maintaining is continue to be real with each other. I think Tony said something like that earlier in her statement. Be true to one. She said be true to one another. I'm going to say be real with each other. If you want to maintain a relationship, you got to be real. What that means? That means in a relationship, of course, I go back to my relationship because that's the best thing I can do with my wife. One of the things we do as far as being real to each other, we give each other permission to say exactly what you feel about something, whatever it is. If we making a decision about buying a car or buying something or going somewhere, doing something, I value her opinion as much as I value her opinion as much as I value my own. So yes, I mean, so be in a relationship, to maintain it, be able to be honest with each other, be able to be open with each other, be able to accept whatever the other person has to say in love. Even if it ain't what you wanted to hear, accept it in love. We give each other permission. If I hurt your feelings, I give you permission to tell me I hurt your feelings without me getting offended or trying to defend myself. That's how you maintain relationships. Give each other the permission to be honest with you. And so I would say those would be some of my best closing remarks.
Those were great. You had a lot in your arsenal today. Thank you so much. But I love those. Be worthy yourself, and because if you just act any kind of way and treat people any kind of way, how can you expect anything else from other people? And then following God, you need to treat people like you want to be treated. That's so important. Being committed, we have to be committed to each other, to relationships. I don't care what kind of relationship it is. You have to be committed. You don't take advantage of the friendship. Well, I know that's my friend, so I know I'm supposed to meet him at lunch for 12, but I'm gonna go over here to this store first. No, you don't do your friend like that.
Right.
Their time is just as valuable as yours.
Yes.
Be a person of your word. Mm-hmm. And I like that. What it takes to get somebody, that's what you have to do in order to keep them. Mm-hmm. That's a good one. But my favorite one is that say thank you, because there are so many people that act like, people just have to do things for you, whether it's your friend, your parent, your sibling, your spouse. Nobody has to do anything for you, Mm-hmm. Hey, Deborah, I know you're working. I'm gotta have to come that way. What you want me to bring you for lunch? But I'm gonna let him bring my lunch. I know he's really going out of the way. He's gonna bring my lunch, and I'm just not gonna say anything.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you for thinking of me.
Yes.
Whatever it is. A friend. Man, I forgot my notes. Well, I wrote my notes pretty good. You want to look at mine? They didn't have to let you look at their notes.
Right.
Thank you. Whatever someone does for you, thank you.
Just say thank you.
Thank you. It's not hurting you. Thank you. People hold the door for you. You just walk on through. Thank you. They didn't have to hold the door for you.
Right.
No, they should, but they didn't have to.
Right.
So those are very, very valuable. And what was the last one you gave? Oh, continue to be real. Yes, you gotta be real. There's a song about that, wasn't it? Gotta be real.
Yeah. Yes.
You have to be real.
Gotta be.
Yes. So thank you so much, Elder Levette, for coming on here with me today. I enjoyed it. We always have fun.
Yes.
Because I value what you have to say, and this is what this platform is all about. I don't know everything, so I want people to come on and join with me in giving out valuable principles that will help our young people and older people as well, because the information that we have is either going to help someone regardless of their age, or it's going to help you. If it might not, young people may not be on here, but if you are a mother, a grandmother, a sister, a pastor, a mentor, you may get something from this platform that will help you assist someone else in your life.
Absolutely.
And that's worth $1 million to me if you can help one person.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate it so much. And is there anything going on with you or anything that you want to mention before we close?
No, nothing in particular. I'm just continuing. Mainly, I'm just continuing to stay in the will of God, and I see some great things coming for me and my wife. Is we've made some recent transitions, and so we're just trying to let God use us to hit the ability that He wants to use us in, and we're open to Him. So that's kind of where we at right now, and we trust in God for our next.
That's awesome. Awesome stuff. I love it. That's what you got to do.
And so much. Thank you, Coach Deborah, for always trusting me to come on and sharing your platform. Thank you so much. I'm always honored. You know, I don't never give you a no. So, and I
I
never
appreciate
will.
that.
Will never give you a no, because I really appreciate most of all what you're doing. You know, I think this build your best life. How do you build your best life unless you trust somebody to drop some nuggets in your heart, in your spirit, to help you be able to give you something to, I think you used the term way back, was a lot of tools to put in your toolbox, you know, and nuggets to put in there. So you got something to build. You got something to build with. If you don't have no tools, you can't build nothing. So
Right.
I think you having this type of platform allows for people to gather tools from all the different speakers. And you've had some wonderful, great speakers over the last couple of weeks that I've been able to watch. And some of them I went back and watched. And I mean, you've had some great speakers, and, you know, so I think, and it's been a lot of tools. They should have a full toolbox by now. But thank you. And as always, and you doing a masterful and wonderful job, and continue to do what you feel God is leading you to do, because I think this is great.
Well, thank you so much for telling me yes when I asked. So I feel privileged, that, because I know I think the last time, you actually had to work and you got somebody to swap out for you. So that was just like, you don't know how that made me feel. I really appreciated that.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
For you and Dan, I'll do it.
All right. Good to hear. So please, please, please like this video, share with others if you think that it will help someone. And I will be back on here Thursday. And my topic for Thursday is king. And what I'm talking about is I want men to step up and be kings for all our princes that we have out there that has to come up, so we can show them the way. We need more kings to step up.
I look forward to viewing. That's going to be good.
And so please join me Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And your life is what you make of it. So follow my basic principles and start building your best life. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. And remember, building your best life is our business. That's not a slogan, it's our commitment. I love you. Be blessed, stay safe, and enjoy the rest of your day. And I hope to see you Thursday.
All right.
All right.